Okay, I had to make a video. I haven't been doing that, haven't been shooting anything for a real long time, just because I don't really dig for bottles, go in the woods or anything of that nature during hot summer months. Uh, I don't enjoy it, so why do it if you don't enjoy something? But the weather's going to change soon, and I'm going to go out and find um, places where I can collect some new stuff. In the meantime, I've been just going through inventory and doing studying and, keeping up with my collection. It's vast, so I have a hard time keeping track of everything I have. One thing that I came across, a couple of things I came across with, were these two Kearns bottles. Now, they're Kearns was probably the most popular beverage company in Trenton, New Jersey. I remember them as a kid. The pyro glaze, white and red labels with the elk on them. It was a clear bottle, really nondescript, and I took it for granted it was just another soda company. But Kearns was a big player in Trenton. The thing about him was that he was from Pennsylvania originally, and he came to Trenton in the 1880s, and he had to work in a coal mine when he was a kid in Pennsylvania. I guess he didn't like that, so he went up to Trenton, New Jersey in 1880s, and I got a job in a bottling plant, John Schroth, and so Kearns went to work for him and learned a new trade. It wasn't long though, until about 1889 rather, I think, that he teamed up with his brother-in-law, who was involved in bottling at one point, and they started the company Kearns and Meyer. Now, I have one of their bottles somewhere, but I can't tell you where it would be. I have almost 400 boxes of bottles, so it's hard to find, like a needle in a haystack. It's pretty hard to find just one bottle, but I know I do have one. It would be a squat Aqua bottle. John Sloth is a green bottle, and it sort of looks very squatty. A lot of Trenton bottles do. Now, what happened with Kearns is Myers left the company to go work for Trenton Brewery. I guess he had a better deal there, whatever it was, and Kearns ended up with the company, and that's was in 1895, and that is when it became E.L. Kearns. And he and his wife ran this business for another 25-30 years, until his death in the 1920s. But the company didn't close. I don't have much information of how the corporation ran, but it was successful all the way through the 1980s. I think in 1980 it finally was bought out or closed. I don't have that information, but it is a popular. It was a popular bottler. Now, the interesting thing about these two bottles, you could see they're slightly different, about the same size, but they're ponies. But they're very different than most Kearns bottles you will find, which are mostly Aqua, and they're tall, with minimum embossing. A lot of times you have the elk, and you'll have the slanted letters like this generally on a big Aqua marine bottle. These ponies are odd though, because I've never found any more. I used to dig in Trenton a lot, and these two showed up in the same spot along with a few other Kearns bottles, and they're different. As you can see, this has a Slug plate with a big K on it, which is rare. You don't see too many of these like this, especially. And this one here is your typical Kearns font, and the elk. But again, they're ponies, and because Kearns had his fingers in a lot of pies, he was banker, all you name it, he had some interest in it. Beer was another investment that he was in, and these are possible. This is possibly, one of these could be a beer bottle. He's not known for producing beer, and although there are tall brown bottles that just say Kearns Bottling with the elk on the neck, I have one of them around too. Machine-made bottle, that strongly could have been a beer bottle, but not these. I think these were little soda bottles, whether they were root beer, whatever. But they're very different. They're very hard to find. These are very rare bottles, if I say so myself. And like I said, I've never found any quite like this again. I found a lot of Kearns bottles, but they're always the standard kind. So just to keep in touch with y'all, and I wanted to get this information out for you, and hopefully I'll be making more videos soon. Have anyone ever heard of liquid bread? Well, it's an old term used for beer. It goes back 1,000 years. This bottle here is a great example of an Anheuser-Busch liquid bread bottle. Now, this has interesting history and a pretty long run. I think it ran from the 1880s all the way to 1915, 1912, 1915, something of that period. This is a tooled lip, blown in the mold. Generally, they'd be marked Anheuser-Busch, and it would have been also labeled with the company name was Dr. Nicholson. David Nicholson was a physician who ordered these bottles to be made for a product that he was selling, liquid bread. Now, it was a pure malt extract, so it really was not beer. In a sort, it was, but it was a product of the brewing process, and the malt extract was used as a property medicine. People drank it like, I don't know, an energy drink, I guess. Whether it was alcoholic, it tends not to be that much. There's these little short brown bottles, you usually find them, no embossing. They were malt extract bottles also, and they were sold as a purgative, and you name it. They put a lot of faith in that concoction. But this is a very rare bottle. It's been collected for a long time. People just were seeing the uniqueness of this, and as far as I know, it was the first cobalt beer bottle ever made from that time. And today they're common, but Anheuser-Busch, they were the first ones to produce this bottle, and as you can see, it is quite different. Now, this is called an export style bottle. See the neck? It sort of looks like whiskey. It was the cork was tied on with wire. It wasn't baled or anything like a blob would be. These were corked, and you'll find English bottles that are ale bottles that are dark green. They almost look black, and they have that export neck on them also. So the style, actually, from what I heard, it's 1872, and I think the design was in Milwaukee, or would make sense. It would make sense. Milwaukee. Who knows better than about beer than you know, the Midwestern Germans. And both of these companies, believe it or not, as you can see, are both German. And the Germans really, when they came to America as immigrants, they had brought with them the brewing culture that was here, but it wasn't buried. They didn't have pilsners. They had like a strong stout, or it would have been a heavy malt English style beer. The Germans came along and refined the situation. Any rate, glad to get back and make a video, because you know, it's been a long time, I know, and I'll be out there soon enough trying to find stuff that I am interested in learning about and sharing it with you. So at any rate, everyone have a great day. My next post will probably be in a couple of weeks. I'm going up north to do some business, and hopefully I'll get to a dump up there and show you more cool things. So have a good one, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye.